It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we got 4 beers from ASDA to show you, and it's on a 4 for 3 deal. Now, my maths. Now these deals are slightly different to the Tesco and the Sainsbury's deal, where it's 3 for £7 now, isn't it? Or £6.50. It's gone to £6. The thing is, the reason why I'm slightly unsure is because when I did that Tesco deal, they were £6. I went back the next week, they were £6.50. And there's some of you in the comments box saying that some Tesco's are charging 3 bottles for £7. ASDA is slightly different. Here are the beers I chose. It's a 4 for 3 deal. Some of them are coming in at £2.47. The Tiger beer is coming in at £2.72. So for my slightly rough estimations, you're getting 4 beers here for £7.50. About £7.50. The only thing with this is that, unfortunately, ASDA's selection, and this is my personal humble opinion, ASDA's lager selection is not as good as definitely Sainsbury's and Tesco. There's better beers to be had in Tesco and Sainsbury's. So these are my choice. I picked up a couple of decent ones, Warsteiner being one of them, 660 milliliter, 4.8% ABV. Good German lager. This is a UK brewed Birra Moretti, brewed by Heineken, but it's their Sail de Mare. It's an unfiltered premium lager with a hint of sea salt. That went in my trolley. I thought, yeah, that'll do, even though it's UK brewed. Asahi, now, Asahi Super Dry. This used to be brewed at Shepherd Neame in the UK. It's now brewed in Italy by Birra Peroni, which is quite interesting. 620 milliliters. So it's definitely not brewed in Japan. That's what I'm trying to get at here. And then we have Tiger Lager beer, which has glucose syrup in it. I've seen that straight away. It almost like sprung out at me. And this one's brewed in the UK under license from Heineken. So Heineken, Birra Moretti and Tiger both brewed in the UK. So let's get these beers out. Let's start with what we have in our hands. 4.8% ABV. Tiger beer. They're all kind of bomber bottles of beer. Here's the bottle cap. So essentially, if you're in one of those Tesco stores where they are indeed charging you £7.50, you can get a 4 for 3 deal in ASDA, get an extra beer for the same price. But again, my humble opinion, some of it's not as good as Sainsbury's or Tesco. One finger, whitehead, good levels of carbonation, amber beer in the glass, quite clear to look at. Let's get the aroma on the beer then. Tiger Singapore, isn't it? Yeah. Used to say on the front of the bottle. Yeah, Singapore. Crisp, dry, maybe some rice in there, like that kind of really dry, clinical, crisp aroma. glucose syrup in this one. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. You can taste it. A little bit of sweetness there from that glucose syrup. Unfortunately for me, again, this is a personal thing for me. These sorts of additions to the beer, like glucose syrup, these cheaper ingredients, unfortunately give me a rocking headache. I get terrible hangovers from glucose syrup and the like, if you like, in beer. It's why I drink a lot of German lager these days, because it all complies to the Reinheitsgebot, the German purity law. Hops, malt, yeast and water. That's the law in Germany. It's okay though. It's completely unoffensive. It has that kind of continental feel to it, especially when you look at the bottle, that kind of, I'm drinking beer from Singapore. It's only when you read the small print, like I do, glucose syrup, brewed in the UK by Heineken, it's just a little bit of a letdown, isn't it? Nicely carbonated though. Crisp, drinkable, refreshing. I can imagine ASDA selling a ton of this beer. There's no off flavour. Oh. There we go. Next one, let's try the Asahi Super Dry. This one's 5%. 5% ABV. There's the bottle cap. Dark brown bottle on this one. Two finger white head, good levels of carbonation, amber beer in the glass. Looks good, nice and clear. Aroma. Ooh. Ooh. A little bit different. I got to ask the question if anybody knows this question, because these sorts of questions I'm quite interested in as a beer blogger. If anybody knows the answer to this, please comment. Why was the contract to this taken from Shepherd Neame, or why did Shepherd Neame in Kent, in Faversham, lose the contract rights to brewing this in the UK, and why was it taken to Peroni in Italy? Was it just a pure cost thing? Let me know in the comments box. This also smells like there's a little bit of glucose syrup in here too. I might be wrong. But it's quite sweet. These lagers are quite sweet. I think we're going to have to get to the German one, the Warsteiner, before we start getting some real bitterness in the beer. Sweetness here. A little bit of crispness from the hops, a little bit of fruitiness from the hops. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Drier. Maybe a bit more crispier. But a little bit more, even though it's higher in the ABV, it's slightly more bland. I'm finding the Asahi Super Dry. It's a little bit more bland than the Tiger. The Tiger's got a little bit more about it. Really quite, I never really use this phrase in beer reviewing, but it's quite watery. It's got almost like a carbonated water feel to it. Dry, crisp, a little bit of sweetness. Not much bitterness coming through. I don't really like that. If I'm honest, I don't really like that at all. Let's see if it's got the dreaded glucose syrup. There's no oh, hang on. Water, barley malt, cornstarch. So it doesn't have syrup, glucose syrup, it has cornstarch instead, which again is there to create sweetness and there to create sugars for the beer to ferment with. Yeah. If I wanted to drink a corn infused beer, I'd buy a Bud Light. Right, let's go with a Warsteiner. I feel like I need my spirits picked up a little bit after those two beers. Bit of a shame really, because ASDA, they got some really good craft beers in there now, they really do. But their lager offering, even though they had some beer in fridges, it's quite weak. 660 millilitres, 4.8% ABV. Brewing water, barley, malt and hops and hop extract. German purity though, Warsteiner. I've not had a bottle of Warsteiner for a long time. I find Warsteiner, even this can be a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes you can get some really good Warsteiner, sometimes it's not as good as it should be. Three Finger Whitehead, good levels of carbonation. This one's slightly lighter in the colour than the previous two beers. And there's different varied amounts of different sized carbonation in the glass. Let's get the all-important aroma. Yeah, a much better aroma, just pure malt. Like wafer biscuits. Let's get in. Cheers, everybody. Hands down, completely different beer. I was beginning to not lose hope. I knew I was going to get to a good beer. Such a difference. Such a difference. I'm so happy for the Reinheitsgebot. I'm so pleased that the Germans did this. It just stops all the messing about with corn, glucose syrup. It stops all of that nonsense straight away. There's no nonsense with this beer. Pure water, malt, hops and yeast. That's all you need to brew a good lager. bitter on the back end, nice and hoppy. Whoa, just makes me want to go and book a flight to Germany. I had a wonderful, wonderful pint of Warsteiner at I think it was a Filipino restaurant in Hamburg in Germany. I love my kind of Thai, Filipino, Chinese food. Lots of noodles, you know. And I ordered this spicy chili chicken dish, and I sat outside and I waited for my dish, but I seen they had Warsteiner. I said, pint of Warsteiner, please. Sitting on this square in Hamburg, people passing me by. I was on my own. I like spending time on my own. I do. I've always been that sort of guy. Sat there quite happily on my own, pint of Warsteiner, in a similar jug to this. Oh. I just sat there. I think I drank about 2 or 3 pints, enjoyed my food, swayed back to my hotel. Fantastic. It is a little bit dry. It does have a... Now, I've done this before. I've compared my favourite, which is, and perhaps this is a little bit unfair, my favourite German lager is probably Kronbacher. Absolutely love Kronbacher. It does have, on a slight negative side note, I suppose, it does have this slightly kind of slightly musty taste to it, Warsteiner. That would be my only critical thing. But I mean, compared to the first 2 beers, Tiger and Asahi, this is different level. This is different quality. That's a very small grumble of that kind of slight mustiness, if you like. Birra Moretti. Sail de Mare. Now, I thought this beer would really kick on in the UK. I thought it's a funny thing. The beer market's a funny thing because I have family members. I do. Let me show you. Most of my family members will only drink beer if it's clear like this. I noticed I don't see Stella Unfiltered on the shelves anymore, which is a massive shame. But the moment beer does this, there's still a majority of people in the UK where the moment the beer does this, the moment it's slightly hazy, oh, there's something wrong, or, you know, there's something, hair on that glass. There's something definitely not right about this beer, you know, oh my goodness me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gutted. If the Stella Unfiltered was still for sale in ASDA, that would definitely be, it would probably be in place of the Asahi Super Dry. Amazing how a beer with glucose syrup stands the test of time, and the moment a lot of people drink with their eyes. A lot of people drink with, look at this, it's hazy. It's hazy. Yeah, but guess what, everybody? You're not tasting with your eyes, you're tasting with your mouth. Maybe close your eyes. Maybe get your family member, you know, that awkward family member or that awkward friend who has to drink clear beer. Maybe blindfold him and maybe give him a one of these or a Stella Unfiltered if you can still find it, and ask him what he thinks of it. And then when he gives you the answer, then take the blindfold off. Beautiful. I do like this. I've always liked this. There's another one called Messina Cristalli de Sale. Very similar to this. A beer with salt. Incidentally, owned by Heineken. A little bit of sweetness. Slightly hoppy. Beautiful. Let's get in. Cheers, everybody. Bit different from the Warsteiner. Gonna have to take another taste of this. It's gone back into the realms of sweetness. There's definitely a little bit more sweetness here. But there is some bitterness. It's quite a nice beer, this. Quite like this. Quite like this, yeah. The bitterness is quite long lasting. It's stinging nettle bitterness. It's almost kind of German hop bitterness here. I drank a Moretti in Italy a couple of months ago. It's okay. Sweetness to begin with, bitterness on the back end. I'm gonna come straight out with this. It's a slightly different beer from Warsteiner because it's sweeter. But that bitterness on the back end balances off. It balances off that sweetness. It's quite a nice balanced beer, to be honest, this one. Starts off quite sweet, moves over to bitter. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So let's have a quick look, see how we're doing. I've got a plastic sheet in. Yes, we're still... I had a fear that we weren't recording anymore. Still holding the house up with... do you want to see what's going on? So this was yesterday's. So, yeah, windows blocked up with a bit of tarpaulin. This is yesterday's job. I'm knocking out... There we go. I've come across like a railway sleeper. In the wall as a lintel. Today we got a support there, so we're going to take out those two bricks there. We're going to clean that up there in that corner, and then we're going to fit a pad stone. And then moving along, today we're going to take out those bricks, probably there, drill and try and get this. I want to try and get that lintel out. It's a big lintel across there. I want to try and bump that out if I can. Get that on the floor and use that. I'm going to cut that up as my pad stones, to be honest. Reuse and save. But I just quickly wanted to show you that and wanted to make sure, because I can't see anymore with that plastic tarpaulin on me if I'm still recording. I used to have reflections from the glass window that was there to show me that I was recording. Pardon me. So let's start off with the two worst beers then. Interestingly, the Tiger has retained its head. The Asahi has completely lost its head. So let's start off with the Asahi. Oh God. Oh. The moment you drink good beer, the moment you drink decent lager, this stuff, it's like horrible beer. Tiger. a little bit better. This stuff, I'm going to tell you a quick story. When Wells and Youngs were based in Bedford, I went to the brewery there, and they were contract brewing a beer called Kirin Ichiban, another Japanese beer. And they were telling me every time they brew this Kirin Ichiban, there's a man from Japan that comes from the brewery, and he's just watching over. He's just surveying what the brewers are doing. Not probably out of a lack of trust, but more out of they want that quality to be really high. Kirin Ichiban was a beautiful beer. I was drinking it on keg down in Bedford in Wells and Youngs. It was a fantastic, really, really good beer. Really decent beer. I just wondered if there's a man from Asahi. Japanese people are proud people, aren't they? We all know that. They're proud of their nation. They're proud of their culture, which understandably we all are, aren't we? That's a great thing to have. It's a great attribute to have. But I wondered if there's somebody at the Peroni plant from Japan tasting this stuff, going, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that'll do. That is not a good beer. That is not a good beer at all. Not a good beer at all. In fact, it's pretty damn awful. It's a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 for the Asahi. 5 out of 10 for the Tiger. Warsteiner, it's a V, isn't it? Warsteiner, not Warsteiner, Warsteiner. Oh, it's different. Dry, malty, crisp, biscuity, a little bit musty. I'm going to go back to that. Lovely beer though, lovely. 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for the Warsteiner. Surprisingly though, well, let's taste it first. No, well, it's that initial sweetness, see, that gets me. I'm like, ugh, I don't like sweet beer. But then there's a lovely bitterness coming through. Perhaps it's just the bottle that I'm drinking. No, I'm going to say the Warsteiner is still the better beer. I'm going to say 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for the Birra Moretti Sail de Mare. These beers are all available from ASDA for it's about within 25 pence. It's about £7.50 for 4 bottles. You make your choice. If I was struggling to find somewhere open and I drove past an Asda, this is all hypothetical, yeah? And I popped into Asda for a few beers, desperate for a beer. In all honesty, I'd probably pick up 3 Warsteiners and a bottle of Birra Moretti Cristalli de Sale. I'd leave the other 2 on the shelves. That's for you. Well, I don't know. I can't imagine people wanting to buy that and drink. I just can't imagine it. Can't imagine it. The Tiger and the Asahi, just like, ugh. This was just a guide. This is my personal opinion. Take it as you will. Thanks for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.